23, the clock won't tick. Workers stranded, lives can't click. Empty wallet, hearts grow sick. No pay, no wait. How long will they stay? The lights are on, but the power's gone away. Papers pile, the desks are bare. Dreams unravel in the thinning air. Promises break, but no one's there. Who decides? Who survives when the system eats our lives? No pay, no way. How long will they stay? The lights are on, but the power's gone away. No pay, no way. How long will they stay? The lights are on, but the power's gone away.
Hi, this is Jim from Safety Wars. Before we start the program, I want to make sure everyone understands that we often talk about OSHA and EPA citations, along with some other regulatory actions from other agencies, legal cases, and criminal activity. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Proposed fines are exactly that, and they are often litigated, reduced, or vacated. We use available public records, news accounts, and press releases. We cannot warranty or guarantee the details of any of the stories we share, since we are not directly involved with these stories, at least not most of the time. Enjoy the show.
This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. It's Safety Wars for Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025. So we have a couple of announcements to make here right off the bat. And again, I am using this. So it's our policy here on the program that we normally don't share websites unless it has to do with like a government thing. So like if it's a government website, they're open source, they're no copyright, you can go and use them. So I'm just letting you know with this one we're going to share because it has to do with me. So here we go. So this Friday, October 24th, 2025, the Hudson Valley of the ASSP is hosting that's American Society of Safety Professionals, is hosting our annual professional development conference at the Rockland County Fire Training Center on Friday, October 24th, 2025. All right, and there's a map of it. It's at 35 Firemen's Memorial Drive in Pomona, New York, 10970. So if you are in the Hudson River Valley region, right, around Pomona, Rockland County, north of the Tappan Zee Bridge, the bridge formerly known as the Malcolm Wilson Tappan Zee Bridge, and south of West Point, we're there, and north of 287. We are there on Friday. Who's we? Me. I will be a speaker in the afternoon. We're going to be doing stuff on human and organizational performance and the Signal Transmission Trilogy. We will be covering some of the material in Jay Allen's great book, the Signal Transmission Trilogy, and I'm going to go right to the commercial for that.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete Signal Transmission Trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
So let's talk about the Signal Transmission Trilogy. So it's a 3-volume set in one volume, the Signal Transmission. It's available on audiobooks and hard copy, which I have both. The first volume examines how safety risk and organizational behavior are shaped not just by the rules or training, but by the deeper constructs, culture, consciousness, simulation theory. It invites the reader to question assumptions about what safety really means. Right? And basically, the systems are safety illusions. Human behavior matters, and organizational culture is foundational. Book number 2 is Safety Mutation, Information Misdirection. Second volume, the system responds to pressure and awareness, not by collapsing, but by adapting and reframing the narrative. The signal begins to fracture, feedback becomes theater, data becomes doctrine. And highlights how organizations may preserve the illusion of safety rather than the reality of projection. Distortion, the idea, right? Distortion rather than failure. Culture adapts. Awareness alone is enough. The system remains intact and defensive. And book number 3 is, in the final volume, the underlying construct of safety systems is exposed for what it is, a structure more about control than protection. The collapse of the construct is not merely collapse of process, but the realization the system was never built to serve people. It issues a challenge to reclaim agency, become the signal rather than drown in the noise. The idea is that we have all these opportunities out there. So it's real simple here. You have to, it's sort of like red pill, blue pill. Right? And he references this, Jay. Right? And we'll have him on one of these days when I have a more forgiving schedule. Red pill, blue pill. Meaning from the Matrix. Blue pill, everything's okay, we're just going to keep going along. Oh, okay, we're going to have an accident. We're having an incident. Okay, let's do the report. Do blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? The worker wasn't wearing gloves. Right? Rather than saying, well, why wasn't the worker wearing gloves? And we're not going to go after the worker. We're going to say, well, use the 5, we have the 5 whys. But let's remember those 5 whys. Right? Let's do the 5 whys. Why wasn't the worker wearing gloves? Right? Why? He didn't have them on him. He didn't have the appropriate gloves. Why weren't the appropriate gloves? He was given cut level 0 gloves or no versus regular cut level gloves. Why was he given we wasn't wearing the glove? And number 3, the cut level gloves that he was given were making it more and more difficult to do the job. Right? Let's go number 4. The worker did not go and get the right pair of gloves for the job. And number 5, why didn't he do it? Because he was not aware of the hazard or anything. There's the 5 whys on that. And I just made them up on the fly. Maybe they're not, right? Okay, now let's try the 5 whys a different way. Right? And I had this conversation with a client, and it was, well, you want a root cause analysis? You want a root cause analysis. What are you looking for? Right? Well, what do you mean? Well, we can take this, what we just did right now, blame the worker, or what's the other one? How come the worker got hurt? Well, he wasn't wearing gloves. How come he wasn't wearing the right pair of gloves? Because his employer would not supply him gloves. Why didn't his employer supply him gloves? Because it was in the collective bargaining agreement, 3 collective bargaining agreements before that the worker was to supply the gloves, and they never updated their stuff. Well, then why didn't the worker... No, how come the company didn't read that? Because they had the same bidding person doing that for the last 40 years, right, in the business, and he never updated his knowledge. Usually it's a he. Did not update their knowledge. Let's do another why. Well, how come he didn't update his knowledge? Because he was the owner's uncle. Well, how come they didn't get someone younger to do this, or someone new who's more updated, and how come he didn't retire? Well, he didn't retire because he doesn't have a retirement fund, and he has to work, and everybody's sick. Well, now you're adding context, and he has to pay for it. Well, how come they couldn't do that? And it goes on and on and on. Now, we could take it that way, and guess what? It's the company corporate culture. They didn't bid for it. They did not bid for the job properly. I mean, we've all been on those jobs. Well, hey, you know that I'm going through this right now at a facility. Well, they didn't. Any other facility we go to, they don't enforce this rule. Well, guess what? On this facility, you're doing this. This is what it is. It's in your contract. Here it is. Here's your contract, right? Here it is, right? And you're going to be doing it. That's just the way it is. Well, we bid the job because they never enforced that rule, and therefore we're not going. Our bid did not reflect that because you never enforced that rule. That's not what's going on. I'm just making this up on this. But we've heard this before. I've been hearing this for 30 years. Well, it's not in the bid to actually obey federal law. Oh, great. Explain to me any other situation. Explain to me any other time that's going to be, okay. Oh, no. Man, no, sir. Well, we pulled you over for going 65 in a 30-mile-an-hour zone. Yeah, but you never enforced the law. So I just went and did it anyway. Is that a defense? Well, we never enforce fall protection rules, so we're not going to worry about it. They don't say that. They don't worry about it. We had one guy years ago, right, where we had an inspector. We all have our pet peeves as inspectors or auditors. We all do. Right? So let's say that you've had a major accident that you've been involved in. It's something, right? Let's say that you were walking and you're carrying a load of books. Oh, this sounds familiar if you're a listener. And you trip and fall, and the books go into your face, and the container you're carrying it goes into your face, and you get a scratch on your nose, and guess what? A black eye. It's gotten better, don't you think? You can't really see it here. But anyway, right? Well, guess what? Your focus is going to be, you got hurt, you had an incident. What's your focus going to be? And you can be damn sure on Monday morning, this happened on a Friday, we're looking at housekeeping issues and slip, trip, and fall hazards. Right? It's normal. So we had this inspector on the court, an auditor, and his big thing was ground fault circuit interrupters. You say, well, Jimmy, why was that? Well, because he was a journeyman electrician that retired from the electric trade, and he went into health and safety, where it was more of a facilities job, but he was in charge of safety for that job. Right, the small oil terminal. So guess what? He's out there, and the first freaking thing that he does every day, check out the lockout, tagout, check out the ground fault circuit interrupters, and anything electrical. That was his focus. That's what he knew. We all get into those things. Guess what? He's out for 2 or 3 days. He's in the facility, but he can't come out to the field to do a safety audit. They had something else going on. It was all a legitimate type of thing, right? All legitimate. Well, then all of a sudden, it was, well, hey, we only saw him for a minute today, and he didn't say anything about our ground fault circuit interrupt. Well, guess what? Then it mustn't be important anymore, and therefore, we are not going to use ground fault circuit interrupters. So we're not going to do lockout because he's in the office all day. It's not important. He didn't come out here. Whoever was focusing on something else. That mustn't be important anymore. Happens. It does happen. Oh, yeah, that's where you got to be present and everything else. But what's my point down there? Well, now we can write what's the root cause? It could be that. It could be anything you want it to be, what the root cause is, unfortunately. They're not going, now, there's a company out there, a very reputable company, who was able to put together the root causes of the Titanic and put together a taproot tree. And this thing takes up literally like half a wall, right? Big thing. Everything that went on, the Titanic, that led to its sinking. Okay, now, you're a safety guy, or a gal, for that matter. You're a professional. You have 400 people in your facility. Someone gets hurt, and it's a recordable. We're going to say it's a minor recordable. Let's say that it is a cut, and you needed 2 or 3 stitches, and okay, they give you 2 or 3 stitches, send you on your way, give you a prescription, and it's not a restricted lost time injury. No, not a reportable, OSHA recordable, or reportable, or lost time injury. Are you going to spend hours and hours and hours on that accident investigation? No, that's not going to happen. This is what happened. This is what it is. I got all this other stuff going on. That's where the incentive is. That's a perverse incentive. Some organizations would sit down and say, look, you're going to find out what's going on here. And those are the more mature organization. By mature, I don't mean older. I mean mature as you hire mature people there. No, I'm not being ageist. There's some 22. My daughter's 11. She's going on 35, sort of thing. Right. But that's the content, right? What do? We just write up the report and go. That's what the signal transmission book is about. And this goes on and on and on, but nothing ever improves. And guess what? That's what management wants. The employee wasn't doing X, Y, and Z. The employee, blah, blah, blah. And it goes on. Nothing improves. And that's why we end up with 5,000 deaths a year in the workplace. So we're going to be talking about this stuff later in the week. And I just want to share that with you with that. And that's, again, the problem with all these root cause analyses that we do out there is that, are they covering up? Right? What are they? Are they covering up? Because that's often what happens is stuff gets covered up with the root cause analysis. Right? Are you learning to solve problems or are you learning to cover up problems? Well, hey, we can't go down. I've been told a million times, Jim, we can't go down that route because you're going to upset so-and-so. So we can't do it. And that person brings in all that money for us, so you can't upset. So don't rock the boat. Don't rock the boat. It is what it is. So that sounds like a new song for an AI song there. So let's go to our, I guess, is this a second commercial break? Let's do some comedy here.
This is going to blow your mind. There's a new daytime talk show on your local cable access station. What happens when safety, scandal, and heartbreak collide? Welcome to Safety Wars, the talk show. Today's episode is a doozy. Imagine confronting your unsafe supervisor who just happens to be your ex-wife's new hubby. Talk about a powder keg. But wait, there's more. We've got an exclusive interview with a corporate exec who's taken out life insurance policies on his riskiest workers, hoping to cash in on a deadly mishap. Yup, you heard that right. It's a real-life plot twist you can't make up. Tune in as Jim Posel, CSP, our very own Jerry Springer of safety, dives deep into this explosive confrontation. Sparks will fly and secrets will be exposed. Catch the full episode on Safety Wars on YouTube and your favorite podcast platform. Don't miss out on the drama that could save your life. Like and share now and stay safe, folks.
Have you listened or watched the Safety War show? It does stream live on the radio and on the streamer-emers that we have. So if you have not taken a listen to Jim Posel and what the hell he's doing every evening with Safety Wars, I would strongly encourage you to take a view or take a listen, whichever option is available for you, and take a listen to what the hell he has going on. It will take some deep dives in some information that you might be interested in.
Hi, this is Jim Posel, your safety warrior. You know what drives you nuts? I mean, absolutely unhinges me. I see all this stuff on social media. I get stuff in the mail, the junk mail, and everything else. And hey, we have a health and safety program for you. We have a health and safety process for you. Just throw out some money. 15, 20 minutes later, you have a complete health and safety program. No assessments, no professionalism, no professional checking out your stuff. That is where we have Aronite. They fill that gap between all these programs and having a professional in place. Right? Let's say that you're an office, a financial service company, a retail chain, a tech company, you name it. The last thing on your mind might be what your responsibilities are to your employees, the company, and, of course, the law. All about safety, right? We forget about the law. It's not only protecting your assets, protecting your people, and your people are your most important asset. It is also following the law. Aronite has a whole worldwide reach, just like Safety Wars. They have a thorough and comprehensive auditing system that will identify what your needs are and then help you write the plan or the program you need. And then, finally, they don't abandon you like all these other online platforms. They actually help you administrate it. We've all been there. We don't know what to do. We don't know what the laws are. We don't know any of this stuff. If you need answers quick, you come to me, Jim Posel, or you go to Aronite. Visit them on the web at aronite.com. Tell them Jim Posel from Safety Wars sent you. See you out there in the world of safety.
At Safety FM, we're just a humble radio station and podcast network, but we're changing the way people look at safety, one broadcast, one podcast at a time. Because here, we don't treat the word safety as a dirty word. We make it powerful.
Rated R Safety Show. Jay Allen pushes boundaries and breaks myths. Safety Wars, Jim Posel brings the battle for safety to life. Pre-accident investigations, Todd Conklin dives deep into human performance. The Safety Consultant Podcast, Sheldon Primus helps you build your business and your career. A HOP podcast with no name. Andy Barker and Matt Florio keep it real with human and organizational performance. The Accidental Safety Pro, Jill James explores what it means to grow in this profession. The Safety of Work, Dr. Drew Ray and Dr. David Proven bring you science, research, and real-world impact. Hop into action. Ben Hutchinson gets you moving from theory to practice. Truck Safe Live, Brandon Wiseman delivers compliance and safety for America's road warriors. The Safety Pro Podcast, Blaine J. Hoffman blends leadership and innovation for today's workforce. Whether you're on the job, on the road, or on a mission to make work safer, there's a voice for you at Safety FM. Safety FM, changing the way people look at safety, one broadcast at a time. Visit safetyfm.com or download the Safety.
Sorry about that there. We got cut off.
Safety Wars is streaming now.
safetyfm.com.
Okay, so let's do some updates on the show from yesterday. So we had, we got some good feedback. We got some not so good feedback. I really don't care on that. I care about the good one, but, no one's ever always going to agree with you. So what as a review, what did I say? We're talking about the New York City mayor's race. Curtis Sliwa, Zohar Mamdani, and Andrew Cuomo, the former governor of New York. Actually, I don't have a pony in this show. I don't have a dog here. I'm going to give you my unvarnished opinion here. Right, and reiterate what I said yesterday. I'll say it better, but I'm not going to back away. The problem here is this. The Republican Party has very low registration in New York City. Some might say, oh, that's wonderful. Some may say it's bad. And this whole thing with everyone's in a panic with Zohar Mamdani being the mayoral candidate, who he's a Democratic socialist, borderline communist, said some very, very controversial things. Right? And the issue is this: long term, the Republican Party, if they want to win an election in New York City, has a lot of work to do. Has an incredible amount of work to do. Years worth of work to do. Why? Because they have years of neglect. And some people raise the question, is it even worth saving? Because at this point, years worth of work to do. Right. So when you're involved in politics, you are on a 4-year cycle. You're number one. And I'm not telling you anything proprietary here. All right. My son just became a patrol leader in Boy Scouts tonight. Congratulations. Got some stuff coming through. So number one, year one, train, educate, build a system. Number two, run a couple of candidates, get your logistics in order, find out who's dedicated, who's not a fink, right? Year number three, recruit candidates, educate, build on what you did in years 1 and 2. Year number 4, get your candidates on the ballot, right? And hopefully you're doing fundraisers all the way through here. And now you're able to run your candidate. Real simple. That's as simple as it gets. And no, there's a lot more to it, obviously. Friend of the program, Rick Shafton, down in North Carolina, Outer Banks, very, very extensive political resume there and running campaigns. He'll tell you for a minute, well, Jimmy, it's not that simple. I get it. It's a very, very, a lot more to it, but I'm not going to share that here. Republican Party has not done that. Now, in the last 2 weeks, right now, as of this airing, they have the mayoral debate, the final one here, I believe it is, in New York. Guess what? They're all in panic. Curtis should drop out. Cuomo is screaming. Okay, if the Republican Party was doing their job all these years, they wouldn't be in this situation. New York City wouldn't be in a situation with Zohar Mamdani here being the candidate. Zoran Mamdani being the candidate here. Wouldn't have had it. You'd have a more competitive race. Now hindsight being 2020, that's what we can say. What do? We're between a rock and a hard place here. For the people who do not want Zohar Mamdani, they're between a rock. Now you're advocating for the Republican Party, the Republican nominee to drop out, which will further marginalize Republican politics in New York City and likely New York State, because you had a whole bunch of freaking racists on there that were involved in a text message scandal. So now we're going to impede. Did the Republican Party put up Curtis Sliwa here to destroy the party is the other question. Now, right? Want to get conspiratorial here. By the way, I met Curtis several times. Great guy. I've been on. Back in the day, I actually called into his radio program a couple of times with him, and it was Ron Kuby from Counselor in Kuby, right, was on there. Ron Kuby, activist attorney. Great guy. All right. So this is in person. Now we're in the last 2 weeks. Now they're in a panic mode. Well, my question is this: why weren't they in a panic mode 5 years ago? The problem is, and this is not to rile up people against each other. The problem is that you don't have enough voters. You didn't recruit enough voters. You didn't do any outreach to any voters to get them on there. You're relying on the alphabet networks to do it. This is where the issue is. And by the way, there are parts of the country where we have things reversed, where the Democrats do the same crap. And the Republican areas just sit back on their laurels. Oh, we'll never get elected. We'll never get elected here. We'll never get elected here. So this morning here, we have, and I don't know what to do. I'm not, like I said, I am neutral here. This morning you had Curtis Sliwa on the Sid Rosenberg show on WABC in New York. I could not listen to this. I wanted to listen to it live, but I couldn't listen to it. This is from the New York Post. Right? Now, here's another one. A lot of safety people could relate to this one. This is a safety-related story. A lot of people could. Right? So Curtis Sliwa, head of the Guardian Angels, started in the late 1980s. It's a safety organization. It's for street crimes. It is a safety organization. Nobody could argue that. Right? So but that doesn't generate a lot of revenue, so what does he do? He does talk radio. He's been on WABC primarily. He's been, I believe, on WOR back in the day. He was on New York 1. He was a frequent guest, him and Ron Kuby, on Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, that sort of thing. I believe he was a regular contributor on one of those networks in the past. Not so much anymore, and definitely not after this race, right? But this is the Guardian Angel is going silent. This is from the New York Post today. Republican mayoral candidate Curtis Sliwa angrily quit his radio gig at WABC. He's been off the air since he's been running for mayor on Wednesday in a fiery on-air showdown after his owner and one of the station's most recognizable hosts called on him to drop out of the race. He raged on the station's airwaves, "You will never see me at the studios of WABC again," as he accused colleagues of betraying him and complained to Sid Rosenberg that the station was giving preferable treatment to independent candidate former Governor Andrew Cuomo. Let me just say, Sid, I am directing my comments to everybody at WABC. Sliwa told Rosenberg, who is nudging Sliwa to move aside so Cuomo has the best shot at upsetting Democratic nominee frontrunner Zohar Mamdani. They have said I am selfish. Are you out of your mind? And this is a quote. Sliwa continued, but that's not why you will never see me at the station, at the studios of WABC again. Never, no matter how the election turns out. Station owner Republican John Catsimatidis, who also urged a defiant Sliwa to raise the flag this week, but appeared to back off his plea in an interview with the Post following an on-air blow-up. Regardless of all the news going around, I've always said great things about Curtis Sliwa. This is John Catsimatidis saying this, about how well he knows the city. But in places like New York City, where 70% of New York City are Democrats, the real Democrat is Andrew Cuomo, and not Zohar Mamdani. The Democrats should vote for Cuomo. I never asked that he leave the race, but recommended that a lot of other people have said he should, in reference to chatter about Sliwa. Right? I'm going to share really quick this is under fair use. That was the New York Post edition today. Right? With him. Cassidy owns the Gristedes supermarket chain, previously saying that while Sliwa would make the best mayor, he should pull out because he has no shot at overtaking Mamdani. He also implied Wednesday he does believe Sliwa's time at the station ended after the emotional vow. I've supported Curtis for 30 years. So, he left the thing over. You realize that, he lost his anger. He lost his temper there. Okay, good. That's good, right? With that. Well, let's remember, your reaction to things matters. And if you're starting to act like this, that's a problem. I think he got lured into this, right, with him, with this. And you got to be very careful of that. Because you go down, you make as Bernard Meltzer used to say, right, when you're angry, you make your best speech of your life. Right? And that what the caution as a cautionary statement. Now, Sliwa drops out. That's going to further marginalize the Republican Party in New York. probably New York State, not only New York City. My question is this: what to the Republican Party? What the hell are they going to do to recover from this situation? Because it's with them, they're part of the issue here. The other thing is that Republicans are part of the issue, because I know I was involved for many years in this. Democrats go out and they get the vote. Democrats go out and they work really freaking hard to get the vote, what they need. Republicans, not so much. They're using that argument that one of the former heads of the CDC had mentioned when we were talking about it earlier this year, which is they feel that they're going to make a logical argument with people. They feel, and then all of a sudden, they're going to agree with them. That's how the CDC managed it during the COVID. Hey, we're giving you logical arguments and expecting people to go along with it. That ain't going to work in politics, and that doesn't work in safety. That's what this book is about, the Signal Transmission Trilogy. You got to make those connections with people. You have to do work. You got to help people out. You got to be genuine. That's how you win elections. You got to strike a chord with people. That's how you do it. This Mamdani has struck a chord with a lot of people. An awful lot. There's a lot of reasons why that is, too. Want to go deeper is what the colleges and the universities are teaching in society at large. That's what they're going by if you listen to the interviews of the people on there. I'm not going to make fun of them. This is what they learned. This is what you were brought up with. Now, all of a sudden, you're going to ask someone to completely change their entire paradigm, to completely change everything else. Is it going to be easy or hard? We try to do that at work, don't we? Try to do that all the time. And we try to cover it up with niceties, and guess what? We don't get any type of progress. Imagine doing that with a whole movement in New York City, where you have, I believe that's an accurate number, only 30% actually vote Republican. I believe that's an accurate number, but it's not that. Well, guess what? Now you have to go after the other voters or bring new voters in. Nobody's willing to do that. So we're going to continue this one-party rule. And I don't care if it's one-party rule in a Republican area or one-party rule in the Democratic area. We got to get people together having a dialogue. That's how we're going to defuse the situation. Let's have a dialogue, some understanding. Just like in a workplace with health and safety. Right? How do you get them on your side? How do you get them to do the right thing? You got to do them. But you got to do one-on-one, right? You have to have a whole thing. Show who you are. Be genuine, because nobody likes a phony, right? And no, the article here goes on and on with that. What was it? There was one quote from Sliwa here. ABC stands for always about Cuomo, right? Doesn't really work, but anyway, no, that's what I wanted to talk about. That went a little bit long on there. I guess I got to put in a warning in the description on the podcast. We're talking politics here. Now, this is from, let's talk about government websites here. What do we have here? All right. I was going to talk about Establishment Search. We're probably going to hit on that tomorrow or on Friday. A funeral home worker was crushed to death when a burial vault toppled on him in a freak accident at a Dallas mortuary Monday, according to local officials. Texas firefighters found the man around 2 p.m. pinned from the waist down by the vault, which had been stacked outside the Westland Funeral Home, Cemetery, and Crematory. Such vaults are often made of concrete to protect caskets. So this is another area of health and safety there, right? With us. So let's go and see what we could uncover here. Would this be a walking and working surface violation or an excavation violation? Well, it wouldn't be excavation unless, I don't know how this would fall under it, to be honest with you, because you are constructing a grave. You are doing an excavation, so it's construction work. And that. Remember, that's my call on this because, right, regardless, it's a minimum general duty clause violation here with that. And, we can make jokes about this one. There was one guy that's from the New York Post also. There's one guy I went to high school with. His family owns a bunch of nursing funeral homes in central New Jersey. And they had a similar thing happen at a mausoleum there, and that guy never lived it down and made national news back in the 80s, where a similar situation. He never lived it down. They were busting his shops forever. But he put it in perspective. He said, everyone's laughing at us, but there's no concern for the victim here, the guy that got hurt. Good perspective to have. Here we have it. Perry's Township, Ohio. An Ohio manufacturing employee crushed to death after a hydraulic press malfunction. So what are we looking at here? I'm not involved in this, but we're looking at probably lockout tagout issues, if I had to do. Right? So because this is what it says. First solar responding police at Doane was crushed by a hydraulic press machine, explained that Doane had entered the machine after it malfunctioned to perform a reset. Sounds like we're blaming the employee here. The employee said that the machine restarted while he was inside and it compressed his chest. The police report says that officers found Doane had a divot in the center of his chest and there was minimal to no chest recoil during CPR, and he was pronounced dead. So this is the thing. Blame the employee. The employee did this. The employee did that. Where the hell was the supervisors? Did this guy have any training? That's my question. With that. Did he do it before? All right. Let's go on over again because of the shutdown. The OSHA website is not being updated right now. Here we have EPA. I think these are by statutory things that they have to report on this stuff, so it ends up on the EPA website. So this is from yesterday. EPA issues 3 Class 6 permits to ExxonMobil in Jefferson County, Texas. U.S. EPA issued 3 final underground injection control Class 6 permits to ExxonMobil for a project in Jefferson County. Under the Safe Drinking Water Act, these permits allow ExxonMobil to convert the 3 existing test wells permitted by the state to carbon dioxide sequestration, right, what they also call storage injection wells. With this. Now, there was a prediction that this whole program would go bye-bye with the Trump administration, and obviously has not. With that, and they're going to be injecting between 1.1 and 1.67 million metric tons of CO2 per year into each well with this. And I tell you what, I just got a book with some of the latest research into climate science that we're going to be talking about here once I get a chance to read the book. EPA orders Cobras Marine to end sloppy hazardous waste management, preventing spills into the Opera Harbor. So today, under the authority, and this is today, October 22nd, here, under the authority of the Clean Water Act, the U.S. EPA is announcing an order issued to the Cobras Marine Corporation to improve deficient operations and maintenance of their ship repair facility in Guam. Under the agreement, Cobras Marine will make various facility improvements to the Opera Harbor. So this is, right, what's the whole thing? The agreement will strengthen protection of coral reef and aquatic life in Guam. So this is all, you're going to love this one. You guys are going to love this one. Cobras Marine operates a ship repair and maintenance facility located on Opera Harbor. On February 6, 2025, EPA conducted an inspection at the facility and found sandblast debris spilling out of the containment structure with potential release of the debris into the stormwater and Opera Harbor. There was a large accumulation of oily and hazardous waste materials, such as oxidizers and flammable materials, improperly labeled and incompatibly stored together. This practice posed a fire risk. During the investigation, EPA identified the buildup and improper storage of waste material as an ongoing issue for the facility as early as 2017. Right, so what did they agree to? Remove and properly dispose of accumulated oily waste and hazardous waste. Construct new storage units to safely store accumulating hazardous waste. Conduct inspections of the facility at least twice a month. Conduct worker training on proper storage, containment, and handling of hazardous waste. And complete a technical evaluation for the collection, storage, and disposal of the ship's oily waste. Now, my question is this. Was OSHA called on this? So let's go over to the OSHA establishment page. So we're going to go, this is Commerce Marine. And here we go on the OSHA establishment page. So this one here, now let's go a little bit deeper into here. So this whole thing at the EPA happened in February. A couple months later, again, great research done by the news media here, right? Gonna love it. Here we have, right? So the EPA mentioned this, but it was referred over to OSHA, obviously, right? This looks like they went there, and now let's remember. If one agency visits you and they find problems, they can now go to the other agencies. So if they find financial impropriety, they find OSHA violations, and I tell you what, a sample abrasive blast, we're not allowed to call it sand anymore, abrasive blasting rate coming out of containment is an OSHA issue. Absolutely. With that. So let's go back to what's going on here. So remember, everyone's innocent till proven guilty. So they had issues in 2021. Now let's look at 2025 in fifth month, May. Oh, this is great here. Now, okay, let's see what we got here. They have 112. That looks like negotiated 112,136. So you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 repeat violations. So these are under the general industry, but not the shipyard. And remember, if the way that these regulations are written with the what's it called? The letters of interpretation, if the maritime standard does not have a standard for this, and you look at it looks like a phone book from a small town in the middle of nowhere. Phone book they used to put phone numbers for everybody in town in. Looks like that's the maritime standard. If it's not in there, then you go to 1910 standards, right? So what do we got here? The first one, wiring methods. Right? Something wrong. Well, that was zero penalty. Informal settlement. All right, let's go where it is. So here's one for $35,000. $30,145. Slings were damaged or defective. The sling used to hold a forklift counterweight was ripped and frayed. Why would you have these? I don't understand this. Right? With that. $35,000 for what? A $20 sling? Really? Corrected during inspection. Slings were not legible, the labels on there. Then there's another repeat. $35,465 was machine guarding not in place on a milling machine. $35,000. Here we have one for $50,000. Equipment not guarded. We're getting towards the end of the program here, so we're racing through these. Here we have another repeat. 1910-157. Portable fire extinguishers, not inspected. Here we have another one. So you have a grind on a brace of wheel, and that stop has got to be within 1/8 of an inch of the grinding wheel. Well, they didn't have it there. That's not an uncommon one, by the way, because to grind down a lot of steel, you have to remove the guard. At least that's what they say. They got to remove the guard. It's quote unquote easier to remove the guarding, and that's illegal, right? Little oxygen cylinders in storage were not separated from fuel gas cylinders. That was $401. Again, repeat violation. I think that they were going pretty easy on them with all these repeat violations, only for a couple $100. Unused openings in boxes, cabinets, and fittings were not effectively closed. We're talking with breaker boxes. Now, let's go. They have more. There's more. Here we have one on another facility here. So these are serious and other. So here we go, 1910-134. This is a respiratory protection standard. Breathing air did not meet requirements for grade breathing air as described in the ANSI/compressed gas association commodity specification G71 1989, the blasting booth. The supplied air used by employees in the blasting booth was generated by a diesel air compressor that was labeled "Do not use for breathing air." You can't make this crap up. Oh, yeah. Can't make this crap up. That was $14,000 fine. How much does a new air compressor cost? Not $14,000. Right? Well, probably a lot more, but, again, I don't know what to tell you. A breathing air compressor for this kind of a setup goes for about $2,000 to $3,000. It would have been cheaper. I don't get it. Again, employees not speaking up, employees not getting training. And employees did get training and they didn't speak up. Shame on them. But guess what? Not so much shame on them because they probably would have been fired. So shame on the management here. So in 2021, this is where the repeat violations come in. What were they? Basically the same violations. Here we have a 1910-134 violation for $0. So this was a shipyard. I'm sorry, I thought it was 1915-134. Work rests were not kept at that was for the grinding wheel, right? Here, and Looks like all the basic ones again for guarding and with that. This is where they got hit with the repeat violations. And this one was a improper storage of harnesses and damaged harnesses. I don't know. It felt good going into in-depth and detail. Now, just so we know here, right? It's some of the right with this establishment search. I'm sorry, I took this off a share here. So with the establishment search, you can put in a zip code. It'll tell you all the OSHA activity that's logged in for that zip code. So here I put in Woodbridge, New Jersey, and you look at this. Woodbridge, New Jersey had an accident, and there was an accident, an investigation put out by OSHA on here. And going back, right? Not a lot going on in Woodbridge. Let's check out 07002. I believe that's Bayonne. Here we go. 918. So it looks like they had all the stuff logged in right up until the shutdown here. So something, it's out there. So you can put in. So let's say that you are a very industrious marketing person in the health and safety field. Guess what? You can go here and look stuff up where OSHA is going. So where are we here? We're 55 minutes past the hour. We're going to, we're going to, logical ending point. We'll be talking to you, God willing, tomorrow or Friday night here. So for Safety Wars and Safety FM, this is Jim Posel signing off. And we will talk to you, like I said, later on. Oh, and by the way, for all the people that liked my little Instagram thing over the weekend, thank you. That we have gotten more responses on that than anything else that we ever did. That was like our biggest thing. So we're going to be doing more of it. So catch you later.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
Waves rolling high, higher than my hole. Sky looking mean, no time to mow. Life jacket strapped tight, ain't no joke. Gotta hold steady, can't let it choke. Don't rock the safety boat, keep it smooth, keep it afloat. Dance all night, but don't provoke. Don't rock the safety boat. Don't rock the safety boat. We tapping fast, decks getting slick. Moonlight flashing shadows, play their tricks. Hold the line, baby, don't let it split. One wrong move and we're in the thick. Steady hand, steady heart.